Episode number 134 with Scott Stewart. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
This is Mike. What do we got here today, Steve?
We have an extra special guest. We've got returning guest Scott Stewart. He was on with us on episode 101 and before that as well. And welcome to the show, Scott.
Steve.
Yeah.
Before we say hi to the guy, can I give a little quick news update? Something big happened yesterday.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Scott. Oceanside had a county fair.
Uh-huh.
And there was a sack race, and I finished in 23rd place.
Holy shit.
So I'm just saying, as we move here, wink, wink, I don't think anyone should feel superior to anyone else. We're all special in our own little ways.
You're right. Yeah, that Scott, you may think that finishing 13th in the main event and then shipping a tournament 3 days ago, might trump that, but we can put that to rest right here.
Okay. No, that's how's it going, man? Thanks for getting up early here. This is early for me too. I played cash last night till like 4 a.m., so we're both.
I don't even know if we should move forward, and we should talk about this potato sack race.
Right. Well, that was pretty amazing. I got to say, there wasn't that many people in it. I appreciate you not asking.
Yeah, there's only.
But they gave me a little trophy for the Plucky Overachiever Award. I don't know what that means exactly, but.
Oh man, that is perfect.
Yeah, thanks
so
for
you're
coming on, Scott. I know Mike has had a man crush on you for a while, and I think I'm beginning to develop one as well. And yeah,
let's get this off to an uncomfortable start, Steve. That's always the way to start an interview. Thanks.
Just
good job.
Fully awkward and stilted. Yeah.
So let's get right. A pretty sick man. The main event. I thought maybe you'd. It's funny. The last time you had a good score, I said, "Well, what are you doing, man? You taking time off?" You're like, "No, PCA poker." So here you got a big score, 563,000, and jump on a plane and go play some more poker.
Yeah, well, I actually had to come to North Carolina because I qualified for that global championship. The circuit, you get enough points. Yeah, so that's the reason I'm here. I think if I didn't, I don't know if I would have came. I had 2 weeks off after the main event of just no poker, hanging with friends, family. That was so much needed after 7 weeks in the hellhole of Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, quickly, I looked at your Hendon today, and I'm sure you were probably not in down spirits, but it looked like you didn't have many results heading to the main. Were you having a tough summer?
I want to say I played about 35K in buy-ins, and I was negative 13,000 for the trip. Okay. So it wasn't horrible, but it also could have been better.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you turned that frown upside down, Jesus. Yeah,
that's true. It ended. I had to wait all the way till the end, the whole last chance situation, and that it paid off big time.
Yeah. How much of yourself did you have for the main?
I had 40%. I had a backer the whole summer, so he bought me into everything 50-50, and he bought me into the main. He actually was on the fence about the main coming up to it, and I told him I was like, you have one more day. You need to figure out if you want to buy me in or not, so I need to sell action. I think I would have sold probably 40 or 50%, somewhere in that range. But yeah, he had 50-50, and then 10% was in swaps. So I have 6 very, very happy friends.
Sure, absolutely.
Right on.
I've actually been like, oh man, the guy I've swapped with a few times, he just went deep. So I don't know. You don't have to tell me what the answer would have been, but I had very little of myself, but I was thinking I can't even swap. But of course, you would have been the first person I would have bugged. Were any of these swaps like, I don't know, courtesy swaps? Like a guy asked and you're like, okay.
No, I have
You don't
no
do that?
problem
Okay.
showering. Yeah, I'll shower people's swaps. I don't think they're good enough. I actually, if you asked me, I would have swapped with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you know for 2018.
Right. I don't know if we can give the narrative of the tournament because it took so long. Can you, if you had to give a 1-minute story to somebody, can you like describe like the movement to the end? I mean, it looked near the end, you were fighting the short stack for a while. That's about the only bit I saw on TV. But obviously, at some point, you had to build up a lot of chips.
Yeah, I bagged day one, 164,000. That was real smooth sailing.
Wow.
Dream table draw. Day two, I bagged 446, which I think was the top 10 stack. Like it was right there. So
Nice.
what happened was, going into day three, people were, getting conscious about the money, and I had a pile of chips. So it was, I had the steamroller in full fashion.
Yeah. You just had your floor.
But once,
yeah, awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, raising every pot, putting people to test, making people squirm. And then on day four, I was down to 20 bigs. So I had a real tough table in the money, and I ran 20 bigs. The first time was all in the tournament. This is the only thing I can ever say about a tournament. I was never all in for my tournament life until day four. I had pocket kings against ace queen that held. And then once that table broke, I went on a big heater and bagged like 2 million that day.
Wow.
Day five, I had a tough table draw to start, and I went from 2 million to like 700,000. Everything went wrong. Changed tables, immediately shot to 4.5 million, and it was off to the races then. So it's kind of unfortunate that until day 7, I was never on TV because I had all the chips most of the tournament. And I'm sure when the actual televised footage comes out, there's going to be some real interesting hands where I'm like 3-betting with Jack 3 and Jack 5 offsuit and crazy shit going on. So, yeah, unfortunately, when the 27 left, I didn't have many chips, and then I got a bunch of chips, and I bluffed them all back right away. So just sitting there in that anywhere from 9 to 18 bigs range the whole time.
Okay.
I don't want to get too much into strategy. I was with my son. I didn't really watch any of the TV until near the end, and I did see a couple hands you played. I think, just curious, when we talk about tournaments, a lot of times it's like deep in a tournament. I had 17 big blinds. I do this, and we've been talking recently. I think I saw you like 3-bet 10-9 suited off of like 22 bigs, and I saw you raise fold like king jack off from pretty early position off under 20 bigs. Is this something you've kind of always done? Like 20 bigs, you're not necessarily just waiting for that shove spot, you're still trying to steal? Do you remember those hands? I don't know.
I do remember the hands. I've got a pretty vivid memory of that tournament and the hands I played. The 10-9 suited was out of the small blind, so it was player dependent. I actually played with the guy on day 5 and kind of had a decent read on him where he raised very, very light a lot. So I think my image helped me get that. It was actually very early on in the day, but I think my image helped me get that 3-bet spot through. And then raising king jack, I wasn't playing many hands, so I thought I was going to get more credit when I would raise, even if it was king jack, king queen, jack 10, something like that. I thought I was going to get a little more credit, even though when I had the king jack, the guy 3-bet me with like ace 2 off or ace 2 suited or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I think the strategy was, you can't just play extremely tight and just fold down to 12 bigs. I still wanted to try to steal a pot or two. Obviously, king jack plays pretty well post flop if I do get called.
Sure. Now, is this? I'm always focused on the negative, but is there like one hand from this tournament that you're going to be kind of thinking about for a while, regretting? Like, well, if I played that different, who knows?
Yeah, it's 100% going to be on TV because it was against the guy that won it. I had him all in for. I had the guy Blumstein all in for his tournament life. I had ace jack suited and he had 9s that he held. But there's a hand where day 6, we both had a lot of chips, and I think I peaked at like 15 million on day 6, which was like top 3 or something in chips. But the hand before dinner break was he raised like the cutoff, and I 3-bet the Jack 5 offsuit in the small blind. You know, like the dynamic of, okay,
Right.
he's going to raise the pot, and I'm just going to 3-bet, and we're going to go to dinner.
Yeah.
But he ended up calling, and I bluffed all 3 streets, and he called me down with no pair, no draw on the flop and turn.
Wow.
And then he had ace queen suited, and he had an ace on the river. And I was done with the hand on the turn, but an ace coming on the river, I was like, there's 0 chance he has an ace here. So
Yeah.
I had to barrel. Yeah, I had to barrel again. But that hand, I lost like 6 million chips of my 15 million or something crazy like that, where, you know, if I just fold the, you know, if you just
Right.
fold the Jack 5 offsuit, Scott, you still have 15 million. It's a different story. That was the tall tail hand.
Right. Well, at least it wasn't like 10-5 off. Then you'd be out of control. We know you're. Who are you rooting for at the final table? Did you have Baumstein's kind of like, he's like the true grinder. So I thought, you know, that's what I thought would have been great for you to win. That would have been, you know, that's who I'm rooting for to win. Not necessarily like the superstars or like, or I guess maybe you are a superstar now, but you know what I mean? Maybe Baumstein's not a bad champ, right? I don't know who you're rooting for, but
yeah, he was a real nice guy. I would say I was rooting for Jack. What was Jack's last name? Sinclair. Jack Sinclair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had some fun conversations with him, and after they bagged up the final 9, you know, I was already at the bar slamming Coronas, and he ended up coming up with his friend and like bought me a beer. We ripped a shot, and we talked for like, you know, 30 minutes, and while we were hammering beers, he's like, yeah, you're, because he was the player going for it. I guess I just a little more respect for someone that's not just playing ABC and just says, I'm either going to win this tournament or I'm going to fucking fire trying, you know? So
right.
You know, I guess me talking to the guy had a little bit to do with it.
Makes sense. Now, I can't remember, what was your bust out hand?
I want to say I had 13, maybe I had 12 or 13 bigs, cut off opens, which was Blumstein. I shoved 13 bigs with ace 9 offsuit. He called king queen suited. Flop came ace high, but came 2 clubs. He had a flush draw, and he hit the flush on the river.
Oy.
So.
Well, great run, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations, dude. That is awesome. And you're out in Cherokee right now, right?
I am in Cherokee, North Carolina, and it is actually really beautiful out here, but there is nothing here.
Well, when I talked to you, you said you were renting a cabin, or?
Yeah, actually, I had a cabin last weekend for 3 nights.
Okay.
And then we've been at the casino the rest of the time. The cabin was really nice, though. It was, you know, it was literally on top of a mountain, views that cannot be matched in many places of the world, I think.
Right on.
Yeah, I drove to that area. There's a lot. It's definitely some beautiful spots.
Right on. And you.
So where are you heading next? What's your next poker tournament? Probably.
The Legends of Poker main event, the WPT 4000 buy-in in LA.
I will see you there. I'm assuming I won't have a problem selling a little bit of action so I'll probably see you there. Yeah.
Yeah, I might want to buy a piece. So.
Ooh, why? Thank you, sir.
That's a lucky piece.
And of course, Scott just won another tournament here.
Yeah, 3 days ago.
Ring number 5.
Yes, congratulations, man.
Thank you. And the best way to put it is I've been waiting to win this 5th ring for a while, just so I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th.
That's cool.
I don't know. The last episode, I was smooching your bottom. I was just like, you know, Scott's special here. We have to now acknowledge that. I don't know how to lead this conversation. Like I was saying, Steve, there's probably, you go to all these LA tournaments, you see like the same 100 pros every time, right? I don't know what number you'd put on it.
It's very true.
Now you're not just better than the amateurs. I don't know who you want to put in there. Masick and Val probably. You're definitely, you know, one of the top 2 or 3 of these 100. So I guess for the other 98, like what are you doing better than us? Is that a fair question?
Yeah, it is a fair question. I guess the way to answer it is, I guess my own strategy in my head is try to acquire chips like always, but once you do acquire the chips, which is not, I don't want to say it's not hard because it is hard, but it's not that hard in LA because once you get the chips and you know who those pros are, you stay away from them. You know, you're going to eventually clash with them, but I don't think there's any reason to get in these spots where you would have to go up against a player that's going to know what you're doing at all times. So you start playing the leveling war of, well, he thinks that I think that I'm going to do this, so I try to get the chips and then just play against the amateurs that are less experienced and easier to value bet in spots, and that seems to work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, when you ever, I mean, I don't know if you're talking hands with some of your LA buddies, Danny or Brett or something, are they ever describing a hand like, you know what, I would have gotten a little more value there. I might not have paid him off. I'm just, I don't know. Can you think of a, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. I was going to say, can you think of a hand off the top of your head where, like, you're just saying to yourself, you know, I'm the only one who's getting paid there, or I'm the only one who's getting that guy to fold there. You know, if you want to brag a little bit about some wizardly hand, this would be a great time for that.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Okay.
I guess I could just think of kind of think of situations like, you know, when you got 10th in that main event and I ended up winning, like, my strategy that whole tournament was me and Chris Moorman had all the chips.
Right.
And he figured out that I didn't want to play against him. I had no reason to play against him. I knew I was going to get heads up with him based on stack sizes.
Right.
So he would raise my big blind every time because he knew I just wasn't defending hands. There was no need to defend against a player that is going to play so well post flop and lose chips when I can just, you know, steal blinds, play people in position, 3-bet when they're, you know, the money jumps are big enough where they're just going to fold down to nothing. So.
Okay. You think that's
taking? Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's kind of like maybe a character edge. I know, like if on the 7th straight time that Mormon stole my blind, I'd be like, enough of this horse shit.
Yeah, it was a strategy to it. You know, everyone's all about defending the big blind or saying, oh, well, I want to play against these players, and I'm sitting next there going, well, the player knows what he's doing. I don't want to mess with him. I can just sit back, make more money, and take off the other players.
Now, if I'm, you know, that was interesting. I think you got a bad table draw at the fight. What, didn't you have him directly on your left? I don't know if you can remember.
He was two to my left. So there was a guy in the middle of us. The guy in the middle of us got 6th or 5th. So he was right there. He was on my direct left, and he kind of let me steal his blinds, or, you know, we kind of took turns stealing blinds, and that's pretty much how it went. Okay,
I got you.
Yeah. Now,
no ego involved there. I don't. There's another hand there quickly that I'm just having flashback. I'm trying to figure out what Scott's doing right here, Steve. You know, I'm like the biologist.
I got some questions on this too. Yeah.
I'm the biologist with a sledgehammer. Just, I don't know what I'm saying here, but I remember another hand where someone 3-bet. The pot was open and 3-bet, and you had queens in the small blind, and just flatted and folded on a king high flop. I don't know.
I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't remember that hand? Okay. Anyway, so we'll take. I just thought this would be another like instructive hand about, like you said, is just go for the easy chips. You know what I mean? So you just set up, didn't play the queen slow, and just, you know, lost 6 big blinds and moved on to the next one because you knew positional advantage. Okay. Well, I think Scott gave us a little bit of glimpse there, Steve. I don't know. I'm still perplexed here.
You know, one thing. I'm curious if you do. Maybe you don't do this exact thing, Scott, but maybe you do something like it. Like what I'll do before a session is I'll review some hands from. Most of what I play is online, but I'll review some hands from the session before and try to identify some kind of pattern of, like, you know, maybe I should be getting a little bit more value on the river. And so I'll write down on a 3x5 card and some magic marker, and I'm like, you know, I'll say something to the effect of, better value bets on the river, or, you know, value bet the river, or something like that.
Steve, Steve, the man's having Corona for breakfast right now. Do you think he really uses note cards?
So I'll have like a lesson or a focus, I guess, for that session, for lack of a better word. On something that I kind of want to, when I get to the river here and I'm pretty sure I got the best hand, normally I would bet third pot here to try to get called from second pair. This time I'm going to go 2 fists and just see how that works and then review it after the session. Do you do something like that? Like maybe, after the tournament before you're like, I should probably be 3-betting a little bit more, so I'm going to focus on this time. Like, I guess my question is, how are you improving? Like, what are your study habits? Like, what do you do to consistently, stay ahead of the game?
Okay, yeah, 2 parts here. First of all, a Corona for breakfast sounds awesome. Second of all, what I do is if a hand really perplexes me and I want to talk about it with friends, I will write it down in my notes in my phone. A little notepad. Yeah. Write down the phone and then, say, hey, should I have checked turn bet? What could I have done different in this hand to better myself at it? And then on your value betting question is, I love value betting the river, even if someone calls you and they have a better hand, I still like the 20% to 30% pot on river with a hand that gets value and you think you're value betting. I'm a big believer in getting that extra bet in.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So.
Right on.
Jumping all over the place here, but it must have been part of the fun of the main event. And Steve, I don't know, you probably didn't see in the video, but Scott's having a great old time there at the end there. He's smiling and he's got his nice rail. Is just having the rail. Your 6 buddies, what, a piece of you? And I mean, I'm sure a lot of buddies of yours, usually people bust the main event and get out of town. You had your whole crew probably sticking around for this, right?
I actually had good friend, my friend Paul Mattiota, his girlfriend, they were still in town. He was on the rail. You guys saw that shirt I was wearing, the Team Ruggles shirt. That's a poker club in Ohio, and the owner of it bought 1% of my main event. So nice. He stuck around, and he was on the rail. And I want to say Ryan Reese was there. And then what happened was kind of some of Ben Lamb's rail and some of my rail were standing next to each other. So there was the mutual consensus of bring a tray of Coronas over to that group right there, and then so
that's awesome.
So a little bit of 2 rails combined, and then my sister and my dad flew in from Long Beach, and they had a cocktail and were chanting with the rest of the crew, getting rowdy. So it was a real good time.
That's cool.
When did Corona become the beer of choice amongst the grinders here? If I showed up with a Heineken, they're like, who the fuck is this dude? Pretty funny. I'm not the biggest fan of Corona. For some reason at the Rio, if you want to buy a beer, and you're playing poker at the Rio, they have, I want to say it's Heineken, Corona, Miller Lite, and Coors Light. Those are your choices. And out of those, Corona sounds the best to me.
Yeah, it does to me too. If they have a Sam Adams, I'd probably take that, but that's, I don't think they do.
Yeah. If they had a good old-fashioned Budweiser, sign me up.
Yeah, there we go. Now, is it time to? I heard some pro talk about. I forget the expression they use. I think it was like take money out of the poker economy. Like it's responsibility as a pro at some point where it's like it's not poker money, it's life money. I mean, is it time for the condo in Long Beach, or are you going to have any like investment ideas, or is this just a?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really don't know at the moment. I need to meet with someone to help me with taxes. When I get back, I've got a couple people I'm going to talk to about how do I not pay Uncle Sam as much money.
Sure.
So once that question gets answered, I think a couple investment opportunities to better my future and give me a little more financial freedom will be the next step. I just haven't done it yet. It was kind of 2 weeks of relaxing, friends, obviously drinking, that kind of consensus. And it was just so nice in Long Beach that I kind of got caught up in the moment. Now I haven't scratched the surface, and I don't think I'm going to buy a place. That's one thing I have. Everyone goes, "You going to buy a house? You going to buy a condo?" I got such a good setup where I'm at. I live 4 blocks from the beach. I got an apartment it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I got a roommate, and it's month-to-month rent. I don't got to pay for water. I pay $600 a month.
Right.
I can't beat it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're traveling, 8 months a year or whatever it is, the house needs some TLC.
Scott, if you
exactly.
If you are not interested in buying a house, I've always been fascinated with finances, and it probably comes from my dad. But if you ever want to sit down for an hour or two, I can outline something for you that'll cost you $5,500 a year, and by the time you're 59 and a half, you'll be able to retire. You won't have to work again. I'm sure you'll still be playing poker, but if you choose not to, you won't have to. So if that, it doesn't involve buying a house or anything like that, but I can outline something for you that you'll have to contribute once a year or two, and it'll take you about 20 minutes to adjust, and then you'll be done for an entire year until January of the next year, and then you just do it again. And so, if you want to do that, I can show you exactly how to do it. It's super fucking easy. I had to read a book that was about probably about 500 pages, and it was pretty dry. It took me about a year to get through it, but since then, it's an awesome setup, and if that interests you, just hit me up and let me know.
Yeah, when I get back,
I think, Steve, when you start off by saying, Steve, when you start off by saying, Scott, if you ever want to sit down for an hour, I think he ignored everything you said after that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's get together when I get back. You live in California, right?
Yeah, I'm in Oxnard. Well, I'll be in Ventura here probably in a couple of months. But I'm just north of you. Yeah.
Now, if you also want to if you want to ignore the Steve advice, and I've been studying the horse handicapping. So if you want to just drive down Oceanside and give me a little burlap sack with like 100K in it, that could go in the right direction as well.
It very well could, yeah.
You know what? My dad loves betting on the ponies, so I got to get down to Del Mar again. It is so much fun down there. Oh
yeah, it's great. I mean, the women are just beautiful, and you get $19 for a vodka Red Bull.
Oh,
but other than
that,
that,
like a hell of a deal.
Oh, it does. Vodka Red Bull, get that heart beating and that wallet lighter and lighter.
Right. Well, you're going there for fun, not to make money usually. So, but it is a great time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I got a couple of quick strategy hands from a listener. If you guys are in.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. Sure. Yes. First, let me tell you about Elliot Roe. Spend 10 minutes mentally preparing for your session. It will give you an edge over your opponents who have not done so. How do we prepare, you ask? You guys know the answer. Jumping out of a plane with no chute? No, that would not help. That would be a horrible way to prepare for a session at the tables. By listening to a hypnosis tape of the exact type of game you're about to play. On the other hand, that's a great way to prep for your session. You got to get in the right mindset. Do it for your bankroll. He has all the MP3s. He's got them for cash, tournaments, live, online. I have all of them personally. I won't play unless I listen to them. This is the next step in poker, the mindset advantage. Elliot Roe. Use the code HUPOKER, score yourself a discount. You'll find the link in the show notes, HUPOKER. Okay, this is from Marius. He's from across the pond in the UK. Just a quick little note about Marius. He wrote me an email recently, and it was pretty personal. I'm not going to read it on the air, but thank you for that, Marius. I appreciate your kind words. And here's his email. It says, "Hi, Steve. Hope the WSOP went really well." Well, if you count 0 for 6, well, yeah, it was great. Well, for you guys at the house, and you're recovering well, truly look forward to every episode, and especially this one to hear how you played and what you did, and of course, the legend that is Mike Snidey. Okay, the first hand says he's late in, this is on Stars. He's sitting in the big blind with 22 big blinds, and he's holding 8-8. He gets a shove from, let's see, it's the player UTG +1. He's got 20 hands on him. He's got 13 big blinds, and his stats are 20, 21. Well, we can probably ignore the 3-bet because it's only 20 hands. And he says, "Is this a call?" I thought so. So we're 9-handed here, and UTG +1 shoves 13 big blinds. Hero is in the Hero's in the big blind with 8-8. So basically, after 20 hands, the guy's played 1 out of 5 of them, and he shoves UTG +1. Everyone else folds. It folds to the hero with 8-8.
Easy call, in my opinion.
I think so, right? I could never fold this. Could you, Scott?
Yeah, it's a call. The only thing that might come into play is there's some kind of pay jump, depending on the tournament. If it's close to, I don't know how deep it is, but it could be deep anywhere from, if you're deep in the Sunday Million, depending if there's 27, 18, or 100 left. It would depend. Maybe if there's a pay jump, it's a fold, but I think it's just a super standard call.
Okay. I thought so too. Yeah.
What if you were the cutoff or the hijack? It's still a call, right? Or do you maybe think about that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think if I was under the gun +2 or +3, it's a fold. But yeah, I think cutoff or better, you're shoving it.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Okay.
He rips in 13. I would reshove 8 there in the cutoff or better.
Yeah.
Okay. Really?
I agree.
I was thinking the button, but okay. All right.
8s is pretty big, Steve. Not a lot of hands beat that.
Very true. Very true.
So,
hard to make a pair.
Yeah.
Hard to make a pair and hold them.
I mean, if you put this, if this guy can just, simply any of these questions shove fold, just put it in the old equity calculator. I'm assuming this guy, the villain, is shoving, 5s plus, ace 10 suited plus. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Right away, just with that, that's 60 combinations of hands you're ahead of. So.
Yeah. All right. He's got one other one there. Yeah, so super standard call there, Marinus. Well done calling. The villain had A7 suited.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Even later than I expected.
Yeah. Okay, another one on stars. I've got 33 big blinds in the cutoff and hold 8-8 again. So I guess that's the theme of this one. And a pretty aggressive player raises under the gun with a 22 big blind stack. Their stats were over 82 hands, so we got a better sample here. 33-20 with a 3-bet of 4%. Total raise first in 41, so this guy's aggressive. Early position raise first in 32. So he's very wide, and I decided to flat, and then the button shoves over for 16 big blinds, and their stats were, the button's stats were over 80 hands, basically the same sample size, 30-16 with a 3-bet of 13%. Under the gun folds. What do we do?
I don't think this guy's super. I don't think this guy's super light for sure. But you never know. He could have just some ace-x blocker kind of hands because the other guy is under the gun. He shouldn't be doing this wide. How many bigs did the guy who shoved have again?
The guy,
16.
Yeah, 16.
Oh, then yeah, I think it's a call for sure. I think you only need probably 40% equity here. And we should easily have that against his range, but maybe not easily. But I would call.
I was thinking it was a fold because I mean, the guy raising first in is an early position. Well, his raise first in is 32.
Well, first we should mention we should discuss the decision to flat too. That's kind of one of those tough spots I kind of hate because you're flatting to set mine, and then immediately, of course, and then immediately, inevitably there's going to be an over, and quite frequently this is going to be a multi-way pot, and so 8s is a pretty strong hand against an active player, even over that small sample. I might 3-bet call it off there against that guy. But I'll let Scott talk here about this hand.
I would fold to the shove, first of all, because I think his independent chip model, just based on 30-plus bigs in a tournament, is very good on stars. Now, I have a stars account, so every time I'm out of the country, I play on Poker Stars, and each time it makes me think, why don't I live out of the country and play on Poker Stars? Because there's always someone that is spewing in there just horribly. So I think folding is the right play, especially just because of the under the gun open. And like Mike even said, when you call with eights there, you're pretty much sat mining. You're putting yourself in a tough spot. So I think even folding the eights pre to an under the gun open would be fine.
Right.
Because you can find way better spots with 30 plus bigs on PokerStars specifically.
Okay.
That's got to be the best hand you'll fold there, I would think. And I would also think if he had if he has got like 13 bigs, maybe. I really think it's a must call almost. I don't know. I mean, if you tweak things a little bit, what would you say?
It's the literal line for me. So if he had 14 bigs or less, I would call. If he had 9 plus, I'd always call with 16 to 20 bigs.
Yeah, it was a close spot for sure.
Yeah, it's like literally the line for me.
Okay. Yeah. Let me scroll down to the results here. Well, do you guys have any other points, or should I read the?
No, I think that's right. I mean, obviously, when Scott says there's people doing a lot of dumb stuff on stars, this could be one of them. I mean, the guy could have pocket threes too. You know what I mean? I don't know how we would construct his range there, but I still think we're Yeah, I guess it's you want to be shoving with eights, not calling for the most part, right? But anyways,
right.
like you said, it's close. Other that I know, but I'm still calling there. But yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, under the gun raises, hero calls, button goes all in, fold. Hero calls, hero has eights, button 10-10. So this one we lost.
Well, if you want to be results oriented,
results O, as Mark would say.
Okay.
Right on. Thank you, Marius, for that. And neat little strat.
This is why Scott makes money, Steve, and while I'm going to be out vacuuming my car this afternoon for some Uber driving this week. Anyways, fuck it. Move on to the next again,
I've got one that I played on ACR. I've got Queen. I'm not sure if I played it right or not. I guess is the reason that I'm bringing it up here to the podcast. First, let me tell you about Tournament Poker Edge. Let's get better at these things we call tournaments that we all know and love so much. Join me at TPE. You can guess along, hope you get lucky, or you can stack the deck in your favor, watch the videos, form study groups with the other members and pros, and know the correct play. I can't talk enough about Andrew's videos on there. I've been watching them for the last week or so, going back in his old videos and watching the theory ones that are just timeless. He has oodles of videos on there. Value bets, continuation bets, hand reading, value betting. That's the one I'm on, probably watching 4 or 5 times. I'm on video 3, and I got 2 more to go. Getting your bets called, getting folds on your bluff. It's all there at Tournament Poker Edge. Try the free videos, go to the forums. It doesn't cost anything. You get to try it for free. When you join, use the code HUP month, HUP quarter, or HUP year. Save yourself some cash. Study and learn with people that are just like us. It'll be the best thing you've ever done for your tournament game. I guarantee it.
Amen. I've been watching a few videos lately, but the ones that I think are most useful to me, Steve, just because of the levels I play, are a lot of time these Mark videos, and he does a series with a TPE member for ACR tournaments. So, that's the level I'm playing. Those are the kind of people I'm playing against, so that's very instructive there, too. Although I like the theory videos.
Did you see the one we did recently with Alan? I think Alan got 3rd or 4th place.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a really good. And then he brought him in for the last video to review the final table. Anyways, I'm digressing.
Okay, Stevie, let's see how you fuck this hand up.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me chime in to say I saw Casey Jarzovic this summer before I started the main. Gave him a big bear hug. Haven't seen him, in a long time. We used to play a lot of poker back in the absolute poker days, so I know him pretty well.
Okay.
You can go on with the hand.
Okay.
And you look like a triathlete next to Casey. That must feel good too.
It does feel good. You
and
couldn't
you
be more correct.
Beard too.
Big Dog's great. Big Dog's the nuts for sure.
He is. His videos are awesome. Okay. We got Queen under the gun. Blind levels are 100, 200. And we've got 99 bigs. Okay, so we're under the gun with queen. What's your guys' sizing here opening up under the gun? I used to do a min raise, and then I just had Daryl Jace on the podcast, and he reconvinced me to go 3x under the gun and go smaller in later position. So that's what I was experimenting with on this session.
Is this ante or pre-ante? I forget.
100, 200 pre-ante.
Pre-ante, okay.
Yeah, bigger under the gun is better. Post ante is 2.2x for me.
Under the gun?
Yep.
Okay, and then
but pre-ante?
Yeah, pre-ante.
What do you mean?
Oh, I guess what I'm saying is...
Oh, pre-ante, yeah.
Yeah, what's your sizing pre-ante under the gun and on the button, and then what's your sizing post-ante under the gun and on the button?
I would say hijack or better, hijack or better, 2.5x pre-ante. Under the gun or anything else, 3x. Pre-ante.
Okay. And then post-ante?
2.2x across the board.
Huh. Okay. That's a first. All right. Just with the extra antes, people are less likely to call, or it seems the opposite?
I think people are paying more attention, and you don't want to be giving off sizing tells. So I stick to one size, stick to it.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, we've weeded out a lot of the amateurs after once the antes kick in, and they've dusted off their chips, and now we have a stronger field. Is that kind of your reasoning?
Yeah, 100% correct.
Huh. Okay. Well, I know what my sizing will be today. Right on. Okay.
Steve, you were just easy to lead about by the nose here, huh?
Yeah, no shit. I mean, I'm like a little puppy chasing.
The guy makes $1 million in poker, and you think he's got the answers here. I say 2.3. How's that?
Sorry, Mike, not convinced.
Okay.
All right.
I would.
You should have said 2.25, Mike.
Oh, intelligent people disagree on this kind of stuff, but quickly. I've been like 10 tabling on Sundays, so a lot of times I'm just pressing that half pot button, and I don't know what that means in this spot like this. It's probably 535 or something.
Okay. I basically make it 3x. I type 588, so 100, 200 blinds. Queen under the gun. We are 8-handed. This is an 8-handed tournament. And I make it basically 3x under the gun, folds around to the cutoff, who calls 588. So we got 99 big blinds. The cutoff has 87. Cutoff calls, and it folds around. So heads up to the flop. Can't think of a better flop here. It's a queen 8-3, as far as being pretty certain we're going to win. Queen 8-3, 2 diamonds. We do not have a diamond. And it's on us.
Check.
Mike?
I'm always bet. I mean, my C-bet percentage is so high online. But it is funny. I have been thinking that I'm just not getting paid on my nutty hands too often, so check is probably the right answer.
I also went for a check, and Scott, tell me if I'm on the right track or not. The way I look at it is the cutoff's calling range is probably going to be a lot of broadways. It's going to be a lot of pairs, suited connectors, maybe like probably down to 7-8 suited, stuff like that. And since we just completely crushed the board here. I just can't picture too many hands that he's going to call with here unless he's also got a set, because he's got no 2 pairs. I don't think he's got queen 8. I don't think he has queen 3, and he sure as hell should not have 8-3. His numbers are 26% of the time he plays a hand, 15% of the time he comes in for a raise, and his 3-bet is 7.7%. So kind of decent numbers, I guess. He's not completely out of line or just totally tight. Is that your reason for checking, or am I off?
Yeah, the reason is I'm checking the flop with the intent of getting 2 more streets of value. It's very hard to get 3 streets of value nowadays, so I want to get 2 streets. So I'm checking, letting him catch up if he checks back, and I'm always betting the turn and river, unless it comes diamond, which would be horrible.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I check, and villain checks behind. And so with 1476 in the pot, we've got 16,000 effective. Again, we have queen. The turn is the 6 of hearts. So the board now is queen of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 3 of clubs, and the turn is the 6 of hearts. So we still got the stone nuts. And it's on us. Into 1476. We're probably always betting here, right? What's your guys' size?
Yeah, 680.
Okay. Mike?
I was going to say 40% pot, so whatever, yeah, that sounds about exactly what it should be then.
Okay, and why that sizing and not smaller or bigger? I went 566, so I think I went a little small.
Again, this guy just doesn't have a lot, so we're trying to convey weakness here, right? I mean, he's so the check, and then like you're trying to steal it here, maybe with your ace high or something, and it gives him an opportunity, especially since you're so deep, to maybe to raise and steal it if he's of that mindset.
That's exactly what Mike said. You're 40% pot. That was like my mind was going to 40% pot to say, yeah, put the guy to the test. You know, he might just fold a lot, but he might get sticky with an ace high hand, or if he has a pair, you know, a 9s, 7s, 5s, hopefully pocket 6s. You can get maybe 1 street of value from here.
Okay. All right. I went 566. Villain calls. The pot now is 2608. We've got 16K effective, and the river is the jack of spades. So again, hero, we're first act. We've got queen. The flop was queen, 8-3, 2 diamonds. Turn was a 6 of hearts. River is the offsuit jack. So I guess let's see, 9-10 here would be the nuts, but I'm not really worried about that. I don't think. Into 2600. What's your guys' sizing here?
60% pot.
Okay. So that's 26. So that'd be 13. So like 1500, something like that.
Yeah, like 1500. Just because he probably has a pair now, unless he has ace high, and you can hope if he did call it ace high, he has ace jack. And if he has ace jack call on the turn, he always has to call the river. So you're banking on that, or you're betting 60%, you know, to fold out other pairs, which is what I'm guessing he's thinking. So you're hoping he has some kind of 1 pair hand.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that sounds right. I don't know if you consider. I think we're getting so many folds here. Is it worth checking here? I mean, to get that like other street of value here. I think he's probably checking behind so much. I think he's folding so much. So, but 60% sounds about right. I think, yeah, I mean, I definitely think you can get paid with almost any pair here, even if he's got like ace 3. Seriously, people are so sticky online, especially early in tournaments.
Okay. Yeah, and with the diamond draw out there that missed, he may put us on a flush draw or something. Okay, I make it 1,000, so I go a little bit smaller. Maybe this is a lesson for me here. Bet a little bit bigger, like you were saying, Scott, on for value betting the river. I bet 999, and villain. I remember he took probably 2 or 3 seconds, and then he made it 3K. So that was probably the 2 or 3 seconds that it took him to type it. Maybe he already knew what he was going to do before he did that. What are you guys thinking here?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we ever shove? I mean, obviously, we're not folding. I assume you agree with that. Do we ever shove and think that there's a chance he got a set of jacks here? We can get paid. I'm trying to think if that's a plus. EV shove, or if he's slow playing the eights. I think if he's got eights, he's going to be raising the turn, so I don't think that's too likely. He does have the nuts here. I guess sometimes you're deep enough where maybe he can call with the gutter if, if he had exactly 9-10 of diamonds, but that's kind of hard to put him on an narrow one. I don't know. I can go either way, whether it's flatting or shoving. I'm leaning towards shoving here.
We got 66
I got to agree
in the pot, and he's got 13K behind.
Yeah, I think I'm going all in. I mean, 9-10 doesn't make any sense in the hand because if he's flatting with whatever 9-10 suited hand he has, he has to bet the flop. It doesn't make sense not to bet the flop.
Right.
Yeah.
If he's in position, I think it's a shove, and you're just spraying. He has jacks or pocket sixes or eights. Like it's one of those that he slow played. So I think that's what I'd do. But the argument for calling because you don't have the physical stone cold nuts is fine too.
Okay. I took, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I did take a while because I thought, I actually never thought of folding. That didn't even enter my mind. I was praying that he had pocket jacks. And my debate was between like clicking it back and making it 6 and then, and shoving. And I thought, I had just watched Andrew Brokas's value targeting and getting paid series. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be targeting but the only thing that would really pay me off here, I think, is jacks or sixes because eights, I agree with you, Mike, that he's probably raising eights on the turn because of the diamond draw. I end up shoving. And he tanked for a while and then he folded. So I don't know what he had. Maybe he had diamonds or something with the jack that he hit on the river and thought I might be bluffing. I don't know. But,
I didn't even consider the click back. I mean, that's kind of sexy. I think there's, he either has like a set of jacks or nothing. So I don't know if it makes a difference. I think anything you're clicking back, he's probably calling on a shove. I think it's probably his range is the same on both of those, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, I didn't consider clicking back either.
Okay, I was thinking if he had something like ace jack, he might call the click back, but he's going to fold the shove. But I don't know I don't know.
I think I think you played it pretty fine, Steve. Okay. I don't think there's any problem there. I was just going to quickly throw up to Scott, though. That's my first thought is like, is there any way I can get 2 streets of value here? A lot of times I'm trying to c-bet the flop and then check turn. And if they check back, get that value on the river. I don't know. I was just going to, I know you grind online a fair amount too. Is that, I'm just looking arbitrarily. I don't know if that's right. I'll look at the HUD stats if I got a lot of hands. And if the fold to c-bet is under 50%, I'm c-betting here and then hoping to, somehow get value on turn or river.
Yeah, I think that's also a good way to play it. I think the only reason I chose check on this specific flop is you're just so nutted on that flop that
sure.
What are you getting value from? I mean, you have to specifically get value from 2 10s, 2 9s, 2 7s, 2 8s. Obviously, as I said, 8's awesome, but he's got to be a sticky player for one. And then I think just you don't flop top set often, so. You don't want to just see bet and win.
Right.
If it came pick queen high with 3 diamonds on the flop, I like a c bet. I think just specifically the situation being so nutted on the flop, it's okay to check once and try to get 2 more.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Just throwing it out there that sometimes that's my 2 streets plan, depending on board texture, villain, all that, everything. But is flop in river. But
yeah, I'm a big believer in c-betting almost any flop, because they fold a lot. So I'm with you there, Mike. I think just this specific situation, I think, even if it came queen 10-8, I would bet the flop always because there's so many draws. But I think how there's one gut shot available that he probably doesn't have unless he has 9-10 suited or jack-10 suited. I think that's the only reason I'm checking on this one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I end up shoving, and then like I said, he tanked and folded. So I was like, Is that a click back? Am I being results oriented?
That might have been a fake tank by him on the river too. Missed his flush and was taking a shot at it. I don't know.
It could have been, but he kind of tanked for too long for that, I think. You know, I really felt like he had something.
It doesn't matter, Steve. You pissed away your stack probably 3 minutes later, but
true. I didn't win the tournament, and I didn't even cash. So
okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, congratulations again, man.
Thank you so much. It was an unreal run. You know, it's awesome. That's all I can say.
Yeah, man, it's amazing.
Yeah. When are you heading out to the next one?
I fly home tomorrow, and then I got a wedding in Denver next weekend.
Nice.
But the weekend after is the physical Legends of Poker.
Starts like
in
August
LA.
25th or something. I can't remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the main starts then, and there's actually a couple cool like $1,000 buy-in. I think there's even that Quantum. Probably not going to play the Quantum. I might buy in day 2, but there's a bunch of tournaments in LA, so I get to be home and play a little poker on my home turf.
Right.
Good deal. Awesome.
You might be wearing a disguise just in case Steve shows up and wants to talk financial planning, just to avoid that problem. But
he might shave his beard, and I won't recognize him.
Yeah, I'll have a Mexico bandana on so he won't recognize me.
Right on.
It's always fun talking to you, man, and I'll probably see you in LA.
Sounds good, buddy. It sounds like I'll be seeing both of you pretty soon. So
Yes.
thanks again for having me on. It's always been a pleasure. We always have a good time talking to you guys.
Yes, we do. Thank you for coming on, Scott. And get your 7-minute Tilt Buster. Click on the link in the show notes for Elliot Roe. And thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
Get some sleep there, Scott.
We all want to succeed, right? So the question that we got to ask ourselves is what success is to us, what success is to you. Maybe it's a healthy family. Maybe it's a happy marriage. Maybe it's to help others, to be famous, to be spiritually sound, to leave the world a little bit better place than you found it.
What do you want to be remembered for? What can you do for others to make the world a better place? What is your true purpose on this earth? We are all dying, but only a small select few are truly living.
If there is no joy when you wake up in the morning, if you dread the sound of the alarm clock going off, if you have the thought in your head that there has got to be more to life than this, you know what you should do? You should stop doing whatever it is you're doing.
You can step out of the shadows into the light. You were meant for greatness. You were meant for more than just what you do for a living. You are an eternal being, meant to inspire and help the world.
If you want to achieve those results, you've got to be very intentional about every moment. And obviously there were days where I would relax and just hang out as well, but the more focused, the easier the opportunity to achieve.
If you push people and ask them what they want, they're going to tell you that they want to be happy. But nobody really talks that next step, which is what is the fundamental building block to happiness? That keystone brick to happiness is progress.